So in our last video, we looked at lots of cool different unit types for the Terran army. But when I showed you how to produce units, I only showed you Marines. And the reason why is that producing all these different units represents sort of the Terran civilization doing research and development and raising their level of technology up over a long period of time. Now recall when we were looking at the production of this big army, building buildings took kind of a long time, right? I would tell the worker, hey, go build a barracks here. And we would kind of like wait and watch, and he's working and working and working. It takes a long time. Now, in order to produce these high-tech units like siege tanks and banshees, we've got to satisfy all these different sort of prerequisites for what our level of technology is at. And the representation of that in the game is we've got to build all of these different buildings in kind of an escalating fashion in order to get to that tier of technology. Now, in the interest of time here, I've modified the game client so we don't have to do that waiting period where we actually watch the worker like painstakingly construct all these buildings. But just keep that in the back of your head that we're cheating in this video, and that when players do this in a real game, it takes a really long time to go through these stages of technological progression. So let's make some Marines. Wait, what? We can't even build a barracks. We can't even build the basic structure. Okay, we got to make a supply depot first. Okay, fine. Cool. All right, now we can build our barracks. And now our barracks can train Marines. Cool. Well, what about those Marauders, right? Well, they're grayed out. We need an attached tech lab. Okay, build a tech lab.
Add-on is up and
cool. Now we got Marauders. Well, what about all those vehicles? Where do they come? I don't even see them in the list here. Arid, I don't even see those Hellions in the list. How do you make those? I don't know. Totally different structure. You see how involved this is? Look at, we've already got like 4 levels of technology that we've made just to get to these Hellions. How do we build siege tanks? Okay, another attached tech lab. Okay, cool. So now we add even more technology. Now we've got those siege tanks. Well, what about the flying units? Those seemed cool. I can't make those at the factory either. Got all these other things, no flying units. Well, you guessed it, build a totally different structure. You can see this is getting really complicated, right? So the takeaway here is not to memorize the prerequisites for building a siege tank. The point is that in a game, players are having to invest time and they're having to invest money and construct their way up through these escalating tiers of technology in order to get to different unit compositions. Now, some of these units are very powerful. We saw those siege tanks, they have this big explosion when they attack. But you don't just like snap your fingers and make siege tanks, right? You have to escalate through these tiers of progression. So this is another just piece of the strategy where players really have to kind of balance, how much can I afford to invest in my technology versus investing in my economy versus investing in my army so that I can protect myself. These are sort of the 3 legs of the stool of StarCraft that players have to manage when they're in game.